Do you need combat experience to be a good leader? Some would say yes, some would say no, but throughout military history, there are plenty of cases of leaders who do not have combat experience, yet are considered great tacticians and military leaders, and also military leaders with no combat experience where some would say are doing a horrible job. So let's compare President Zelensky, 5-star General Dwight D. Eisenhower, and Minister of Defense Sergei Shoigu. Of course, we're going to start with President Zelensky, and also known as the President of Ukraine. He has no military experience. He's a former actor / comedian, and now he's in charge of the Ukrainian military in defense of their country against Russia. So right now in the news at the time of making this video, he is being revered as a great military leader. He is stepping up to the plate. He's wearing military fatigues. He's out there grinding it and supporting his troops. He's had assassination attempts put on him. He's been artillery shelled, and he's out there right now getting his combat experience, getting his military experience. But it's also important to note is that in 2019, he did win 70% of the vote in Ukraine, which means he was already well loved and well respected by the people of Ukraine. But in the build up to the Russian invasion into Ukraine, he was not so well liked. In fact, a lot of people said he did not take it serious. While Russia was surrounding Ukraine, he did not take the steps to either fortify or to get more weapons and technology into Ukraine to try stopping Russian forces. And some people even blame him for being in the position Ukraine is in now. But we are seeing President Zelensky step up to the plate. He is now seeing he has to be the military leader to lead Ukraine through combat, through the situation, and I think he's actually doing a great job as of right now. But let's compare that to Minister of Defense Sergei Shoigu. This is a really weird case in military history. He's only ever reached the rank of lieutenant. Could you imagine a man who's ever reached the rank of lieutenant in his military experience, and he is now the Minister of Defense of Russia? That is the supreme ruler of all the Russian forces. But to be fair, he was the former Minister of Emergency Situations. So that means anytime there was some sort of natural disaster, like somebody's houses got flooded or there was a major earthquake, he would show up in his team and he would make sure everyone's okay and everything was taken care of. And President Putin actually liked this. In fact, Minister of Defense Sergei Shoigu achieved the highest level of award for helping out so many people in Russia. And he was actually well liked in the Soviet Union. And he's one of 3 people who were former Soviet Union leaders to be leaders today. Another person who was a former leader in the Soviet Union who's a leader today is President Putin. So it's not a surprise that he chose Sergei to be the guy in charge of the military, because Sergei is going to do anything Putin says. But is Sergei doing a good job? He has no combat experience, no military experience, and honestly, it shows. When you look at how Russia's doing today in Ukraine, Russia has a way bigger force than Ukrainian forces and are still struggling. At the time of making this video, they are 2 weeks into the war. They still do not have air superiority. There's a 40-mile convoy that literally shut down between Kyiv and Belarus. They have not made any actions. Russia has lost airfields while they were trying to hold airfields to the Ukrainian military. So again, this is a case where not having combat experience, especially military experience, actually shows how he's doing against Ukraine. But what about 5-star General Dwight D. Eisenhower? Now, obviously he's passed, but he's a good person to show how not having combat experience can lead you to be one of the best military leaders of all time, especially in history. 5-star General Dwight D. Eisenhower, he did serve in World War I and World War II, but he does not have combat experience. He never actually left the United States during World War II. It was very controversial, and he actually wanted to see some combat, but he was appointed the supreme leader of the Allied forces because he has 35 years of military experience. Even though he has no combat experience, he has military experience, which means he knows his men inside and out. He knows where to put tanks. He knows how to move ships. And that is the biggest difference between 5-star General Dwight D. Eisenhower and Minister of Defense Sergei Shoigu. Sergei Shoigu, no combat experience, but he has no military experience. 5-star General Dwight D. Eisenhower, no combat experience, but he has 35 years of military experience. And honestly, what my main opinion is this: at the end of the day, military leaders do not need combat experience. They need the support of the people. They need the support of the leadership around them. And I think right now, Sergei Shoigu just does not have that. He has the safety net of President Putin. Whatever Sergei Shoigu says, President Putin is okay with it because screw it. They are both friends and they're not going to get rid of each other. They're both former heads of Soviet Union. They're probably some of the only people in the Russian government who have an ideology of trying to bring the Soviet Union back. But again, when you look at President Zelensky with no military experience, he's starting to get that now. And the main thing is he's being born into a leader. He has the support of the people behind him. He has the support of leadership behind him. And that is the biggest difference between why not having combat experience does not mean anything. Leaders are born, not made.